Need an icebreaker for your next dinner party? Well, my favorite conversation starter at any party is to talk about the art on the walls. I love learning the story behind the artwork in people's homes. Art tells our stories, it shares about places we have been, people we have met, and our own personal style. I want to help you share your art story in your home. I'm Jamie Smith, and welcome to my class, Home is Where Your Art Is, How to Hang Art and Create a Gallery Wall. I'm an artist myself, but I have also worked with corporate and private clients to buy art for their businesses and homes. I have helped friends and family buy art and create gallery walls of art in their homes as well. This class is for anyone that believes art is important and wants to get some on their walls. You may have art already hung in your home, and this class will give you more tricks and tips to framing and hanging art in the future. I am so excited to share what I have learned over the years. So together, let's get more art on walls. For a gallery wall, we ideally want to limit ourselves to 2 to 3 frame colors or varieties. So for example, you'll see in this big and balanced gallery wall layout, there are 3 things happening: white frames, a canvas piece, and a woodcut. In this follow the leader layout, the bold black frame in the center demands the attention. It is the largest and has a black frame. The white frames on the outside flank the piece and are all matching and kind of give it a balanced look. The patterned deer head hanging on the wall breaks up from all the rectangular shapes on the wall. In this feature pieces layout, each framing choice is different, but they all line up and are unified with the top level of measuring. And we have a black frame, a white frame, and canvas. This wouldn't look good if there was tons more art here, but because there's only 3, it is okay, they kind of balance each other. And we want to make sure that we are thinking about the order of things. So if you had 2 white frames and 1 black frame, you'd put that black frame in the middle to give it some balance. One exception to this rule of 2 or 3 types of framing is when you're doing your bits and bobs layout. This wall is all about different sizes, shapes, and frames. The way the wall works is by putting many small different things together, and that gives it unity because it's all hung together on a smaller type wall. Framing can be expensive, so I highly recommend you do as much as you can on your own. A big thing you can do to save time and hassle is to buy art that is already a standard size for frames. Most artists do this now, but is something to definitely check. Buying frames from Michael's or an art supply store can save you a lot of money, and those need to be the standard sizes. Often a framer will recommend archival glass to protect the work, but this is also expensive. If you have an original piece of art that you have spent a lot of your budget on, I do recommend doing that because it will protect it from fading over years and years. But I do hate when art is sitting in a pile and not framed, so I highly recommend get it framed. You can always add your archival glass later, especially if you're doing prints. I often do not do the expensive glass. So just make sure you think about your intentions, your budget, and really think through with your framer about what's a good option for you. The important thing is to get art on the walls. Also remember that this is an art collection and it is built over time, so it will take time to get these gallery walls looking how you imagine them. When you're framing things yourself, I recommend that when you put the wire on the back, you measure down a consistent amount. Depending on the size, this is about 5 inches or it could be 3 inches. And you want the wire to feel loose, something like this, and not too tight. We want the wire to have some slack for hanging so that we can adjust it and make sure that it's level. When thinking about matting helps protect the work as well. It gives a little bit more room between the artwork and the glass. If you don't want to do matting, and that is totally fine, you can use little spacers that go inside the frame and you don't have to have the matting. This still protects the artwork and from the glass and keeps that space in the middle. I personally use a mix of matting and non-matting. I typically do not double mat and I use only white mats. Often, double matting or using colored mats can make the work look quite dated. If you have a piece of art that is framed this way, I highly recommend buying a white frame or white matting, and the artwork will look like new. Reframe and remat in white, and this will really help, and you'll be shocked about how modern the piece can look. Another thing with matting is it gives importance to small work. This small work can take up quite a bit of space if you have a large mat and then frame this. Shadow boxes frames are also very good for artifacts and gives it weight and importance, especially if something is a little bit more sculptural and has a 3D aspect. Put it in a shadow box and it can really give it some oomph. I even just put a nail in the wall sometimes to hang things that artifacts. For example, this is a brass eagle on a globe that belonged to my husband's late father. We now have it hung up in our gallery wall, and it is a real important artifact for us. So don't be afraid to actually just put a nail in a wall and get that object up on the wall. To summarize this lesson, for your gallery wall, we want only 2 to 3 frame colors or different materials. For example, canvas, frames, woodcuts, that sort of thing. We want to buy art that is standard sizing for frames. Buying cheaper frames and framing it yourself can save you quite a bit of money. You can always reframe and remat dated looking art. Typically white will make it look much more modern. Use mats to help give importance to small works or small artifacts. This gives it a lot more size and a lot more oomph in your gallery wall.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of our latest videos.